every month or two. So if you want to actually get actively monitored by someone crawling your site, I'd check this out. And so, what we're really talking about, what some of the theories behind this are, one of the other ideas I had actually was to dump all of the top URLs from the latest Google Trends, so that you could identify which of those links are known to distribute malware. And so that's something else that we're investigating. I know that there's a lot of malware researchers. Like, I basically wanted to see how, my intention was to set out and see what the malware analysis audience at Black Hat could leverage from Google hacking and Bing hacking. And so I think that's something else that you guys may want to look at, is the Google Trends and insight into search. But go back one. So we're basically talking about monitoring your site for external links and identifying all the incoming links, and then comparing that to the blacklists, and then detecting infections, and then alerting you. And so that's a good monitoring system for you. But my friend Oscar actually asked me, is it possible to get someone added to the blacklist? And the repercussions of this could be enormous. So the Black Hat side of this would be doing search engine de-optimization. And that is blacklist your enemies or your competition. So let's say there's another site that comes up that's selling wolf socks, and you want to take them off of the market. You could identify malware links and potentially inject, using comment spamming techniques or other mass injection techniques, identify other ways to just generate links from their site to yours, or generate links from known malware sites to them. And then you could potentially get them blacklisted, which at that point their page rank goes to 0, and anytime anyone tries to visit their site, they're going to get a red alert that says it's a reported attack site, and then be able to profit from that by taking out your competition. I don't know if this is something that's actively being done. I know that the algorithms for the blacklists are very closely guarded secrets. As you can see, this is a good reason why. So it takes someone a good amount of reversing and trial and error to see if it were possible to get someone added to a blacklist. But I definitely think it's something worth investigating, because you could be looking at a potentially huge risk and a huge technique. I could see it now, the Russian business network offering this as one of their service lines to get all of your competition blacklisted.
Yeah, or pay them or they'll blacklist you or something.
Yeah, like mafia-style techniques.
Yeah, pay for protection. Future directions. That's kind of just a quick overview of a number of the tools and techniques we've been working on, and kind of where we're at right now. In terms of future predictions of where this is going, while Google hacking kind of slowed down from 2004, 2005 to we're picking it back up now, I expect in the near future we're going to continue to see data explosion. So we saw all those Google apps earlier from Google and Bing and Yahoo and people like that, indexing everything from phone records to healthcare records to you name it, and to open source software, and making more and more interfaces for searching that and correlating that data easily available and exploitable. I also anticipate some renewed tool development. We've obviously kicked this off, but I think that people are going to start thinking differently about this now, and we'll start seeing some other tools come out.
Yeah, one thing I noticed last week that Google just came out with is a way to make RSS even more real time. One thing we noticed about these feeds is, while they say it's as it happens, typically around 4 p.m. Eastern time, or every day, it's when it updates.
It all seems to happen at 4 p.m.
Yeah, so
as it happens.
That's like when the bulk of the batch update of what they push out when they push out these RSS feeds and Google alerts. And I think they bought some company, and they came up with a protocol named PubSubHub. It's a mouthful, but it basically allows you to set up hubs for RSS feeds to basically optimize it and make it even more real time and more updated. It's doing like long connections to it rather than polling, and there's basically just things are going to get updated faster, more and more from the treasure trove of information that's in these indexes.
And I think in addition to renewed tool development from a security side, I think we're going to see more and more tools leveraging Bing and Google for Google worms and more real-time detection and exploitation, as we saw with the 100,000 website Wall Street Journal example. And then finally, Google's been getting a lot of heat in general lately about security, from losing their authentication code to China allegedly, and to getting caught grabbing wireless in Europe and things like this. So there's a lot of heat on Google from a security perspective, which I know has caused them to start hiring a lot more in their security department. I think Google hacking will probably be on the lower of their priorities, but with building out their security organization even more, I think that they'll start getting a lot more involved in preventing things like this, going through the results and removing obvious SQL error messages and things like that.
Fred and I disagree on this. I don't think they're ever going to invest the time and effort into removing things from the results. It's just too much of a liability to them to remove false positives or not. And
you think they just don't care? You're so jaded.
I think they don't care.
I think they will be getting the proper motivation to reduce some of the risk from these vulnerabilities. And as we saw in the case of Bing, they in 2007 at least made an attempt by disabling in URL and a link and link domain, which sort of worked up until now, until we just released this Bing hacking database. So they'll be making an effort as well. And then finally, for future predictions, with the data explosion of not only indexing more information, but also making it available in real time. How many of you guys have ever played with this and with the normal Google interface, but just expanded your options and went to updates? Like one or two people? Basically, Google is now indexing this information, both Google and Twitter results in real time. You could see what was indexed and what happened at 3 o'clock this morning or 5 minutes ago. And they're making this data streaming and in real time so that people are going to be able to take advantage of this. If you find a vulnerability in a certain version of a piece of software, you can in real time be finding who's using this software, what's going on, and automating the exploitation of things like that. Scary stuff.
Any questions? What type of media file? Oh, his question was, do any of the databases have any fingerprints for media files? There's videos, like I've seen results, especially actually from Bing, even though they have restrictions on their file types, I've seen, even in their documentation, there were examples like, find me WMA files on this site. So there's things for music and video, images. You could bump up against something like the API for the Google image search, but in actual plain results, like if you can specify that file type, it would just be a matter of seeing if that's there. What's particularly you're interested in doing? Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
One interesting thing that someone just brought up to me, have you used the new Google image search at all? Did you notice that when you search for something, maybe some of the results are for what you searched for and some of them are what you searched a while back or something else you browsed to, as if they have a little more insider knowledge as to who you are and it has nothing to do with your search results? I noticed it and someone else brought it up to me as well in terms of what information is being collected from that standpoint. But
his question was, any reason we admitted Yahoo? And it wasn't so much of it's something I actually would like to pursue more. I really like, they have their PQL, or they have basically a way to write what looks like SQL statements to their search interface. And that's something I'd like to investigate more. It's just more of a matter of what we had time to do for this presentation, but it's something I would definitely like to pursue more. Especially around like the site explorer, because there's a lot of good, valuable information there.
Cool. They're not open source, but they're free. So yeah. And there's not going to be a commercial. All the updates will be for free versions.
I don't think so. I mean that was kind of Microsoft's approach to it. Of course, maybe Fran disagrees with me. I think he kind of thinks they might take some of that away, but I think they consider the value of their user base more important than the abuse that happens with this. Because I know that some of those advanced features is what brings myself to Google and a lot of other users. But I think, will invest more into trying to detect abuse, like try to bolster their bot detection, and try to find a balance there to prevent things rather than taking away features. Any other questions? Well, thank you for coming.
Cool. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.